watching ESPN's Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. A spectacular night here in Las Vegas, and inside the Orleans Arena, the Portland Pilots, off of their quarterfinal upset against St. Mary's, looking for an even bigger one tonight against BYU. Right now, they are listed as the last four in by Joe Lunardi. The top seed Gonzaga, 25-point performance tonight from Byron Wesley as they advance into the championship. And the Cougars are looking for a rematch. They lost to the Dogs in last year's championship game. And we welcome you to Las Vegas. Beth Mullins along with Stan Heath. And Stan, it is a big night for BYU. A lot of folks in these parts think they are already in, but a win tonight may be the thing that pushes them over the top for sure.
Well, here's the thing we know for sure. Nobody really knows deep down. You know, the projections are that they're in. They're in probably the last four, possibly already in, maybe in the 64. But the only thing that they can do right now to control their destiny is win games. So this is an important game for BYU to win. Get to the finals against Gonzaga. After that, if they lose to Gonzaga or win Gonzaga, you know, I think people feel like they're going to be in a good spot. But they need to win this game tonight for security purposes.
The foe tonight, the Portland Pilots, the 6th seed. Terrific scorer in the backcourt, and Alec Wintering. He had a 30-point game in a loss to BYU during the regular season. They will go with the freshman Jason Todd. He starts for the second game in a row. Voldy Gay-Roon still fighting the flu. He will come off the bench. And for the Cougars of BYU, they've got the triple-double man, and Kyle Collinsworth. Fisher is their shooter, and Tyler Hawes, the all-time scoring leader in BYU history. It is the two other guys that have triggered them as well down the stretch. They've won 9 of their last 10 games with Sharp and Kaufusi inserted into the starting lineup by Dave Rose, who's trying to get to the NCAA tournament for the 8th time in 9 years. He is number 1 all-time at BYU in win percentage, number 2 in W's. They're in their home whites as the 2 seed.
Portland gets a tap, and they've got some star power a little bit too. This kid Bailey right here, he can fill it up, and Wintering, he's a scoring guard as well too.
Alec Wintering gets the lay-in. Portland grabs the early lead. Here is Collinsworth, number 5, with those 5 triple-doubles. That's the NCAA single-season record. He can tie the career record with 1 more as he splits the double.
BYU, team that plays with terrific pace on the offensive end, and the leading scoring team in the country.
Kaufusi wraps it around. Yeah, they drop 84 a night. That's the best in the nation.
Well, this kid is much improved. Corbin Kaufusi, a freshman that started off trying to play football, and all the guys finally said, hey, look, you need to come up for basketball at 6'9".
Short on the 3-ball from Todd.
You know, you talked about earlier, really the difference to me in BYU.
Fisher for 3.
Has been their ability to defend a lot better. In their last 10 games, they have defended so much better. And Corbin Kaufusi is a big part of that with his rim protection and his athletic ability.
The lay-in from Thomas Vandermars, the 6'11 senior out of the Netherlands.
Or no defense. Vandermars is
just as you praise them.
And, yeah, just as it happens every time. I'll give him a free throw jinx here in a minute too.
It has been the defense though. Better rebounding during a 7-game win streak that includes that huge road win up at Gonzaga a week ago Saturday night. That may be the best win that any team in the country can put on their resume. A road win over the 3rd-ranked team in the land. No unranked team has a better W. As you see Eric Reveneau in his 9th season. Back to their winning ways. They had a few losing seasons in a row, and now back to a winning record. Coming in tonight at 17-14 on the season. That was a big win against St. Mary's. They shot 50% from the floor on Saturday night.
That was a huge win. And you know, sometimes when you play a team like St. Mary's, Brad Waller, one of the better big men in the West Coast, and probably one of the guys you never hear about, but averages about 20 and 9. But they did a good job of Brad Waller at 25. The rest of the team at 27. They just cut off everybody else. And with some of the big guys they have for Portland, that was a nice advantage for them, and they were able to pull it out at the end.
Here is Bailey. Rebounded by Collinsworth. He's one of the top rebounding guards in the country. Fisher. Front wins that one. He's got 92 triples in the season. There's Chase. Bailey. Acrobatic move into the lane.
Boy, you can see his athletic ability. Just didn't finish that shot right there, but boy, he elevated.
Entering on the run, trying to get by Sharp, and he draws the foul.
Nice job by Wintering, putting pressure on the BYU defense, just pushing it right at them. You know, he's just a sophomore right now, but he's a guy that had 30 points earlier in the season, so he's a very capable scorer. Alec Wintering for Portland.
That is the second foul on Josh Sharp. So a quick hook here for BYU. They will bring in Frank Bartley. And just prior to tip-off tonight, we learned that Anson Winder will not go. He's in street clothes. He's had knee problems this year and actually tweaked his other knee on Saturday night, and he will not play. Their third leading scorer out this evening.
Early in the year, he was a huge factor at about 13.5 points and really a focal point of a guy coming off the bench, part-time starter of providing good offense for the Cougars. And after that injury, it wasn't quite the same, and his role kind of diminished a little bit, but the knee has been a big part of that problem for him.
Kafusi finds himself alone. Good ball movement here for BYU. 5 on the shot. Bartley drops it off for Kafusi. Boy, has he come a long way in a short period of time. Corbin Kafusi turning into a weapon.
Really is, and the ball movement was just so crisp for BYU. Side to side, penetration, drawing defense, and then dropping it off for the big man.
The post position was a weakness early in the year. A mission, an injury, and they were really short along that front line. Nice stick back there. That's Bryce Presley. Kafusi in traffic. Foul's going to be called before the shot. That's going to go on Boldy Garoon, who had just checked in. We are even at 7. Second semifinal of the night.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Sport begs of you this one simple question: who will you be? And Voya Financial, changing the way you think of retirement.
Goods. Top seed Gonzaga has already advanced into the championship game. Who will join them? The 2 seed BYU, the 6 seed Portland, even here early at the Orleans Arena. And let's check in with Jeff Goodman.
One of the real challenges for Dave Rose is he loses players to more missions. Eric Mika did it this season. He was their best freshman a year ago and their big guy. But the benefit of that is he'll have older players. And right now his 2 best players, Tyler Haws, Kyle Collinsworth, are both 23 years old. And to put it in perspective, both played with Jimmer Fredette. So that takes you back to how old these guys are, the experience they have, and that comes in handy, especially when you're playing against a team like Gonzaga, possibly tomorrow night.
And right on cue, there is Tyler Haws, his first shot attempt and his first bucket.
Right on cue, and starting off the way he finished the last game on Saturday with that 15-foot bucket off the dribble on a ball screen action to win the game against Santa Clara.
Had the game winner, the 30-point effort in the quarterfinals, his 4th such 30-point game of the season. This year he passed Jimmer Fredette against Portland, ironically enough, to become the all-time leading scorer. Earlier in the season, he had passed Danny Ainge. Look at him defensively right now. He's running around on Bobby Sharp, one of their shooters. Shot clock winding down. The stop and the pop just to beat the buzzer by Bryce Presley.
Portland very patient on that possession right there, and getting the ball and weave action side to side, and right at the end of the clock, being able to knock down the shot. It seemed like they were running offense that way.
Out of Hawes, little post up there on Presley. 6'5" senior out of Alpine, Utah. Trying to get the Cougars back to the championship game. They lost to Gonzaga last year in the final. For Portland, it's been a 19-year drought that they want to break to get back to the final. And that 96 campaign, they were the West Coast Conference champs. Their only tournament title is Wintering is fouled on the drive. He has been able to work his way into the paint on that dribble penetration so far in the first half.
He really has an exceptional quickness, Alec Wintering, sophomore. And that's one thing BYU struggles with, is being able, when they play Kyle Collinsworth as their point guard, they have to shift their defense around a little bit. Chase Fisher becomes the point guard defender, and he's not used to guarding those lightning quick guards. But the one thing that BYU will do, they'll mix up their defenses. We're going to see some zone. They're probably a 60-40% zone to man basketball team.
Wintering, as we referenced earlier, has a 30-point game against BYU earlier this season. Half of those points came at the free throw line. Effective at drawing those fouls. He'll catch his breath right now. He's got 4 points.
Well, about the other thing that makes him so difficult to guard, he's the #1 3-point shooter in the West Coast Conference at 50% from three. So you have to honor the 3-point shot, and with the speed, he can get into the lane on you.
Is now into the line for BYU, number 10. He's got a touch out top. Bartley lost the handle on the way up. Collinsworth, no reset on the shot clock. Fisher off the pump fake for three.
Boy, nice job by Chase Fisher. He knew the defender was flying at him because he's known to be a 3-point shooter. A guy who made 10 threes early in the year in the Maui tournament. And he just shot fakes, had some patience, and stepped in and knocked down that three.
Good recognition, too, by the Cougs. Bartley's hand touched the rim, but the ball did not. No reset. Presley gets in the lane again.
Boy, Presley's coming to this game. Bryce Presley, very aggressive, averaging 7.5 points a game. But, today he looks like a guy that feels like he can score against his matchup anytime he wants.
He's hit his first 3 shots, 6 points tonight. Got a chance here for Portland to tie it up or take the lead.
Portland's been a little bit different of a team with Jason Todd out there. It's almost like a 4-guard lineup out there with 1 post player. So defense has to spread out a little bit more. And they have a guy inside Vandermark. This guy's a nice jump hook now.
And he's going to be called for the offensive foul, trying to clear out in the lane. One thing we saw from Eric Reveneau in the quarterfinal, as we take another look at the foul, he went through his bench early and often. They had 11 guys that played in the first half the other night.
Well, again, another team that's playing their 3rd game but have that day off, so that helps them.
3rd triple already for Fisher. Give him 95 on the season. And BYU has hit 7 of its first 10 shots tonight.
I've always said and done a several BYU's games, when Chase Fisher hits that first shot, he sees a big basket. He will stay aggressive throughout this game and play with a lot of confidence.
Oh, the back pass, Collinsworth to Hawes.
Wow.
And a top 10 nominee right there from the Cougars. Assist already for Collinsworth.
Well, hey, I tell you what, if you want offense and you like offense in college basketball, you want to watch the Cougars. They score the ball.
There's trouble brewing if you allow the top scoring team in the country to hit 8 of their first 11 shots. That's the problem right now for Portland.
Well, right now BYU's on pace for their 80-plus points a game. I mean, you've got 20 points, and it hasn't even been 10 minutes into the game yet. So, they can score. And the one thing that the first time around when these two teams played, BYU was very aggressive and forced 17 turnovers with 17 steals in that game.
Kevin Bailey with the nice elevation.
I always like to see what coaches do out of timeouts, and Eric Revin on that play just isolated his best scorer at that elbow and went one-on-one for the easy score.
Fisher again! His 4th triple and Collinsworth's 6th assist.
That was always one thing I always talk to my team about. When you're guarding a shooter, it's really important you don't let him get going, because all of a sudden when those guys get going, they need less and less space now to get those shots because they see big baskets. They understand shooting contested shots. So Chase Fisher is going to be a hard guy to deal with tonight.
Andrus rebounds the miss from Presley. BYU has assisted on 8 of its 9 buckets. This is Skylar Halford, their bench spark, who is now checked in. And Fisher's going to be calling for the illegal screen out top.
But Chase Fisher, he's come out on fire to start this game. It's a nice pass by Mr. Triple-Double, Kyle Collinsworth. And you got Fisher for 3.
One of the most dramatic shots in NCAA tournament history, and he is the only player to start in 4 consecutive Final Fours. So why has Christian Laettner been disliked for so long? ESPN Films presents I Hate Christian Laettner, Sunday night at 9 Eastern on ESPN, presented by Volkswagen TDI. And one of the great games of all time. In Kentucky that night, Chase Fisher's off to the hot start, Stan, downtown.
He's really off to a hot start. And, you know, he is a 3-point shooter, but he will occasionally take it off the dribble as well, too. But he's already started off 4 of 5 from the 3-point line. And the one thing BYU does a phenomenal job, because they have 8 assists already. When they know they have a hot hand going, they ride a guy out.
8 assists on their 9 baskets. Very, very unselfish play to get things rolling here for BYU. They're trying to get back to the championship game for the 2nd year in a row, now in their 4th season in the West Coast Conference. Showing a little zone. Pause with the takeaway. Halford into the lane, and he's fouled.
Really fought on that last play. Haws, who kicked it ahead. Halford would just kind of throw it right back to Haws, the trailer right there. Yeah, he probably saw a seam for himself. He got himself fouled, but Haws would have been a nice kick out for him.
Just before the shot, the inbound, Bartley. Assist number 7. Is it too early to start a triple-double watch? 7 assists, 4 rebounds. He hasn't scored yet.
But you know what? One thing that we've talked to other coaches about this in the league, Randy Bennett, you know, they really have to. You really have to prepare for the base on a bounce for BYU. They get about 4 to 6 points a night, and that, you know, in a lot of games, that could be the difference in the game. Your base on a bounce, special situations.
BYU's on an 11-2 run right now, and Bailey scores another one. He's got 4. Collinsworth. Rebounded by Garoon, out to Winnering. Good in the open court. Winnering got it caught on his hip and then taken away by Haws. 3-on-1 the other way. Haws to Collinsworth. And free throws coming.
Yeah, Collinsworth's going to get the free throws out of this, but he was calling for Haws to give it to him early, because if he would have got it back, Haws right here defensively gets the steal. But you can see right here, Collinsworth wants the ball, and if he gets it, he's going to throw it back to Haws, and Haws would get the layup probably with no defensive pressure on him. But still, Collinsworth gets himself to the free throw line.
And his first point, the 6'6" junior from Provo. He was an all-West Coast Conference first-teamer for the 2nd year in a row, and certainly the way he was playing down the stretch, Stan, you actually made the argument he could have been the player of the year in the league. Yeah,
I really think. And it's a tough call that the coaches can nominate one guy, and you've got the all-time leading scorer in BYU history, who's a senior in Tyler Haws. So Dave Rose, you know, probably puts him up, and so, you know, all of a sudden he doesn't get it. But he's a first-team guy and well-deserved, and he's got another year to come back. And I really think if he spends a lot of time, works on his outside shooting, his free throws,
doesn't he?
You know, yeah, gets that part of his game. I mean, we're talking about a guy that averages 13. He'll get up to about 17, 18, and obviously have another spectacular year.
Can't knock that down. Of course, Gonzaga had a similar problem. You've got a few guys that could have been nominated. Kevin Pangos was the West Coast Conference Player of the Year. It's Kyle Wilcher, along with Hawes, who are the Wooden finalists for National Player of the Year honors.
No, you can't take anything. And Kevin Pangos had a very good year in his leadership and all the things he does. But in some ways, it could almost be like a culmination. Like, hey, he's been here 4 years. Let's give him this over the period of time and what he's done at Gonzaga, which has been an exceptional career.
Top seed has advanced. Byron Wesley with 25 tonight in the first semi. Bartley off the mark.
That's not normally what Bartley does for this team. He's an energy guy, a guy that defends, pushes it on the break on rebounds, not necessarily a three-point shooter.
Swing it back around to Bailey. Everybody gets a touch for the Pilots, and it rattles in and out. Offensive rebound, and it trickles loose, and here comes Collinsworth. 3-on-2. Fisher spots up and drills his 5th of the night.
Boy, again, a nice job in transition. One of the #1 keys Portland put down, and you have to put down for BYU, is your transition defense of matching up. It's not just finding the guys for layups and getting your defense in. You got to find those shooters on the perimeter. And Fisher's lighting them up right now.
Vandemar's for 2. Fisher is halfway to his school record 10 threes that he dropped on Chaminade out in Maui earlier this year.
Yeah, you can see right there, Bartley kind of knows, man, I probably shouldn't have took that first shot. He goes back to what he knows best.
Good D from Bailey. 10 on the shot. Collinsworth off the crossover. BYU wanted a trip, no whistle.
And normally those feet get tangled up. You get that trip call. I was kind of surprised they didn't call that on that play. Portland right now, you just got to chip away at this, and that's not the way to chip away at a lead.
Bailey tried to make the pass inside, and Garoon wasn't ready.
Well, we've got a lot of highlights of Chase Fisher today, and rightfully so, because he continues to stretch out the defense and knock down the threes for the Cougars by 12.
The top seed, they have already advanced. Byron Wesley with a 25-point performance. They beat Pepperdine earlier. And now BYU and Portland trying to join them in the championship game tomorrow night at 9 Eastern on ESPN. If it's Gonzaga BYU, it's a rematch of last year's championship game and a rematch of the thriller a week ago Saturday night up at the Kennel, and the Cougars pulled off one of the biggest upsets of the season and halted a 41-game home court winning streak for the Zags. They had won 22 straight going into that game. Fisher is looking for another one, and he's got it. 6 triples in the first half for Chase Fisher.
He is seeing a huge basket. You know, if you're Portland right now, you know the coaching staff is telling you, look, guys, you know, he's got 18 points right now. You know, he's the guy right now. We have got to stop him, make them do something else, but we can't leave him alone. We've got to get through screens. We've got to contest his shots. He's already shot big twice and got you up in the air.
He has as many points as the Pilots team right now. And BYU has assisted on 11 of 12 buckets. Kafusi missed in close. Tyson will pull up for 3. Long rebound to Fisher. BYU. Fisher off the cross. Halford to Hawes for 3 more.
What terrific ball movement right there by the Cougars. The extra pass. Boy, you love to see when teams share the basketball.
8 for 10 3-pointers here in the first half.
This is just great basketball right here. The extra pass. You got the hockey assist, you got the extra pass, and you got the 3. The Zags running away from it right now, BYU.
7-2 run right now for BYU as they double up Portland with 5:54 to go in the first half. They have hit 8 3-pointers, 6 of them for Chase Fisher. Kyle Collinsworth already with 8 assists, and Hawes has 10 points as well. Jeff Goodman.
Byron Wesley, after his big game earlier tonight for Gonzaga, said he wants another shot at BYU. After that last loss in Spokane, he said they got to redeem themselves from senior night. It was an embarrassment, and right now it looks like they're probably going to get him.
Yep. The only conference home loss in the last 4 years for Gonzaga, and it came at the hands of BYU. Boy, will that be emotionally charged if it works out that way.
I tell you what, if Portland finds a way to come back here, that's nice bulletin board material, isn't it?
Yeah. Every little advantage helps. Shot clock's down to 5.
Not sure they know it.
Wintering.
Nice
Buckley over to help. Gets the strip and a shot clock violation.
Boy, nice defense. And that's what we talked about. The difference in this Cougar game, I'm not saying they're an elite defensive team or a great defensive team, but they are much improved over their last 10 games of being active with their hands, staying a little bit in front of their guys a lot better, and then mixing in the zone when they have some problems. So that's been the difference in this team, and they're still scoring at a high rate.
Allowing 6 points less than they had been prior to that stretch. They've won 7 in a row, 9 of their last 10, and Fisher is fouled on the 3-ball.
And that's exactly what happens. He has put so much pressure by knocking down 6 threes so far, and so now what happens, you shoot it, the defense flies at you, and you get 3 free throws.
He's approaching 100 threes on the season as he gets the first free throw to go. He's a 78% free throw shooter. And now Kafusi over to the sideline. I think there's some blood they have to take care of there on his hands and up on his chin.
This is a really good free throw shooting team. You know, so many guys are 70 plus. I give them that magic jinx as usual, but this team shoots 76% as a group. So, you know, it's one of those teams late in the game, if it's close and you got a foul, they can close it out with free throws.
And it's not just the percentage either, Stan. They are the best team in the country at getting to the line. On the average, they go 20 of 25 at the free throw line, and in their quarterfinal win, they were 29 of 38.
And a lot of that, I mean, it's a team effort, but Tyler Hawes, he's #1 in the country, and he gets there. He knows how to get fouled.
Goes about 8 times himself. Oh, the miss right inside, and then Vandermars gets fouled.
I kind of like Vandermars. You know, he's just a big, rugged guy, broad shoulders, and got length to him as well, too. And, you know, you get him around the basket, he's got a nice jump hook, right hand predominantly, but he's got a little bit of a left-hand jump hook, too.
Thomas just a 52% free throw shooter. He was all West Coast Conference honorable mention this year. He became their career shot block leader this season.
Trying to mix up their defense, playing a little bit more zone now. Got to communicate if you're in this defense and find the shooters. You got to know where Hawes is. You got to know where Fisher is. Who's so hot.
Partly one-handed on the drive, falling away on the shot. And so far tonight, Chase Fisher is outscoring Portland 20-19. Powered by those 6 3-pointers. There's Vandermars again with another rebound. A kick out to Wintering for 3, and that's short.
Those got to go down if you're Portland trying to get back in this game. And you love those offensive rebound kick out threes. And
just inside the line. Vandemar's got a block. To the high post. Short on that attempt.
Yeah, shot's just not falling right now for Portland. They're getting some good looks. That was against their zone right in the middle of that defense and couldn't drop it.
Pause off the mark.
Winner, you're going to have to be more of an offensive weapon right here. They don't have a guy who can match up against you. You can get a shot or you can get to the basket and create something for your team.
Fisher almost looked like he tried to create the foul there as opposed to aim for the bucket. He's got some leeway. He's 6 of 8 on the night. One of those green light walking off the bus guys.
Absolutely. You almost have to have those three-point shooters nowadays, the way the game is played.
Here's one for Sharp. Probably the senior out of Santa Rosa, California. Had been in the starting lineup until they switched it up to Todd, and Kevin Bailey came back from the leg injury that forced him to miss 8 games. BYU will take a timeout, so we will talk about the NBA. And a couple of big matchups coming your way. NBA Wednesday, the Clippers and the Thunder at 8 Eastern, and then the Rockets and the Blazers at 10:30 Wednesday night on ESPN. NBA Countdown will get you started at 7:30. (38-22) our score right now. BYU on top. 8 for 12 from downtown. The story here in the first half. Kyle Collinsworth already with 8 assists, 7 rebounds, and 2 points. The triple-double watch is underway.
Well, you remember, sometimes we just talk about triple-doubles. He's got 13 double-doubles on the year, too, which is extremely impressive as well.
Nielsen is now checked into the game, number 35 for BYU. Oz gets away from the defender for 2. He's got 12.
I just say this, if you haven't seen Tyler Haws play, he's got the best mid-range game. People don't even do that as much anymore, but he has mastered that mid-range shot. So if you see him at the 3 line, he'll shoot a few, but he really wants that 15, 17-foot shot.
Portland misses inside. Here's Collinsworth. Had it knocked loose. Bailey. That's stripped out of there.
Boy, Bailey thought he got fouled on that. There's a little bit of contact, but hey, we got to play through the contact right now, and BYU still firing away, up by 18.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Cialis.
Thank you, Chris. There's a little teaser for the folks at home. These teams have clinched and will be moving on, including Northern Iowa. A lot of teams that are on the bubble are thankful that Northern Iowa beat Illinois State. The Redbirds would have stolen a bid. Wofford kept Furman from doing the same thing in the SoCon. Got a big Patriot League game coming up on Wednesday night, Stan, with my Lafayette Leopards hosting the final against American for a ticket. Bailey had a lot of shots from the Pilots, coming up a little short here in the first half. Collinsworth to the rim. And rocks it a little bit.
Collinsworth showing off a little bit of athletic ability. Just when you just think, hey, he's just going to dish it, and you know, he's not real, but he can get up a little bit. He can do some things in the air.
Off the bounce. Alfred came over to help. Philip with the rebound, and he's fouled.
Now, that's the one thing about Kevin Bailey's game. You know, he's a guy that's scoring about 15 points a game, but he takes tough shots. But Collinsworth right here, if you know the scouting report on him, he's going to the basket. He's not a shooter from the outside, but he makes a nice move and just attacks the rim. A point guard at 6'6", 225 pounds. I almost say sometimes he's 6'7". He's a difficult matchup.
He was terrific in that Gonzaga win. Sharp again, short on the shot. Collinsworth had 20 points, 8 boards, 6 of them were offensive rebounds against Gonzaga.
Absolutely, and that particular game, he was the best player on the floor.
Yeah. In
that game. I'd say in all the games, but in that game, with all the stars on the team, Wiltshire, Pangos, Hawes, he was the best player on that floor against Gonzaga.
And that's why they would like another crack at the Cougs. As it stands, they will get just that. Barring a miraculous Portland turnaround in the second half, we've got just 31 seconds to go here in the first. Shot clock is off here for BYU.
Always got to watch Tyler Hawes. He's in possessions right here. Normally they like to run offense through him.
Number 3 there in the bottom of your screen.
And he really moves well without the basketball.
Here he is with the catch. Tried to feed Collinsworth. Backdoor Wintering. If it goes, and it's short. 42-24 BYU. Powered by 6 triples from Chase Fisher and a 20-point first half. Halfway to another championship game appearance for the Cougs. Here's Chris and the Heroes Charge halftime report. Now the scene here in Las Vegas for the West Coast Conference semifinals. BYU powered by 8 3-pointers through that first half, have the 42-24 lead over Portland. They are 20 minutes away from a showdown with top-seeded Gonzaga in the final tomorrow night. Beth Mowins along with Stan Heath. We saw plenty of Chase Fisher in that first half, 6 of 8 from beyond the arc, and he was a huge story in that first 20 minutes.
He's on fire tonight, and you know the combination of those two guys, Fisher, you know, right away as you just mentioned, had 20 points in the first half, and he's just done it from the 3-point line. And right now, Portland, they can't seem to find him. It's not at the 19-20-foot range. He's out of the NBA range, and he is hot. But the two combined between Fisher and Hawes is 32 points, 8 of 11 shooting from the 3-point line. And so they have all but 10 of the BYU points. If you're Portland, you've got to find a way to stop these two guys, but they are red hot right now.
And for Kyle Collinsworth, he's got 5 triple-doubles on the season. He already has 8 assists and 8 rebounds to go along with his 4 points tonight. Another triple-double this evening would tie the NCAA career record. It would be his 6th. His 5 this season came over a, 12-game stretch. It was a crazy month or so for Collinsworth.
Well, the 2 hardest ones to get, he's right there with 8 and 8 with the rebounds and assists. So he can get to 10 points. That's not that hard. A few free throws, a couple layups, and you're good to go.
Jeff Goodman, what did Dave Rose have to say coming out of the locker room?
Well, obviously Dave Rose was happy with that first half, with the way they shot the ball, with the way they shared the ball. He said, when I asked him if he had seen a performance like that from Chase Fisher, he said, yeah, earlier in the year against Chaminade. But you know what he said? They need to stay focused on the glass. He said, that's an area that Portland can hurt you, and they need to make sure that they get on the glass, and Cafusi and some of the other guards have to make a concerted effort.
Well,
that Chaminade reference, by the way, 10 3-pointers for 30 points for Fisher. Wintering and Collinsworth. And it comes back to Fisher looking for 3. No good, but Kaufusi gets on the boards just like his coach wanted him to for the throwdown.
Nice job by the young freshman who's really coming into his own, just running the floor, playing hard, and cleaning up a miss.
Offensive rebound. Garoon fouled on the shot.
Well, Kaufusi started the whole play with the hustle, and he threw the outlet pass, and Collinsworth was able to hold on to it, and he just continues to play, runs to the rim, goes straight there, and he is an athletic guy, and he not only, it wasn't just he just tipped it, he cocked it, turned it, and then threw it right back down.
Kaufusi's a guy who left on the Mormon mission at 6'5", and after 2 years came back at 6'10". He left as a football player. His dad is an assistant coach on the football team. Came back and decided to started playing some pickup ball. Decided, you know what? I'm 6'10". I'm athletic. Here we are.
He has been a real discovery over the last half of the season. In fact, they are 9-1 with him in the starting lineup.
Well, what it's really changed is their defense. He gives them a rim protector, so if somebody gets broken down off the dribble on the perimeter, they have to deal with Kaufusi around the rim. And I thought, you know, the key when they beat Gonzaga was Kaufusi's ability to play against Karnowski, play against Sabonis, and not get in foul trouble and defend those guys at a high level.
BYU couldn't convert there. Pilots.
Dave Rose's words were well spoken. His team, it's not like you're playing Virginia when you're playing BYU. You know, a 10-point cushion is like 20, 25. When you're playing BYU, a 20-point lead is like a 10-point lead. The game can go up and down and change real quick.
Collinsworth gets the layup and one.
The triple-double watch is on. Nice defense right here. And the last time they played Portland, they had 17 steals, and you see right here, Collinsworth at 6'7", just a guy who can handle the ball and make a lot of plays on the floor.
Collinsworth now 7, 8, and 8. Zuby Zaretta is into the lineup now for Portland for the first time, number 54.
Eric Revenant just not happy with his guard play, sitting Wintering and Bailey down, his 2 leading scorers. And if those guys don't produce at a high level in this game, it just isn't much of a chance for Portland.
Weaving his way towards the rim. Kaufusi offensive rebound. Fisher looking for 3. Oz tracks it down to Kaufusi and 1.
Well, the thing you like if you're Dave Rose right now is you like the hustle of your team. You're up big. You're up by 19 points at that particular time. Now it's 21. But your team is still scrapping and hustling. You're missing shots, you're chasing them down, you're making extra passes, and you're playing together with hustle out there on the court.
Corbin Kaufusi now 8 points, 6 rebounds. He's hit 4 of his 5 shots tonight. That's the free throw, 50-28 now. BYU pulling away. Bailey on the drive and gets the lay-in. He was just 2 for 9 in that first half. Lucy lost his footing, spins a couple of times. Collinsworth with a rebound, and he's fouled. Nine rebounds, 8 assists, 7 points.
I think we're going to see it tonight.
The question is, will he be in the game long enough to get it?
Well, he'll be in there till at least the last 6 minutes, 5 minutes.
Fisher can't dial it up. Bailey fouled on the drive. This is the record he is chasing. Michael Anderson from Drexel and Shaquille O'Neal from LSU each had 6 in their careers. Collinsworth with 5, all of them coming this season.
That's a Slim Shaq right there.
Yeah.
You know, what's really
Back
impressive.
in his college days.
What's really impressive is, you know, those guys, Shaq did it over 3 years, and, you know, he's doing this in 1 season.
Turnaround in the lane is good. And Gabe Taylor, and then the steal on the inbound.
You don't want to get sloppy. A lot of possessions. The way BYU plays, a lot of possessions that you can get back into a game if they're sloppy, and they give you that opportunity with mistakes.
There is the first category for Kyle Collinsworth. He's got 10 rebounds. Oh, collision sharpened Bailey. We've got a timeout. 50-32, BYU. Trying to get chalk into the championship game and a date with the top seed, Gonzaga. 32, BYU in control here in the semis, trying to get back to the championship game. And a date with Gonzaga. They were the 2 finalists a year ago. The Zags got the win, and unfortunately, a tough night for Kyle Collinsworth with the ACL injury that ended his season. And what a comeback for him and the job that he has done this year. He is flirting with his 6th triple-double of the season. He's already got the rebounds. He needs 3 points and a couple more assists to do it.
Well, when you think about that, that is really amazing. I mean, you know, when you go through an injury like that, you're out. A lot of times it's you and the trainer by yourself, hours after hours, dedication of putting in not just the rehab work and also all the other things you need to do to strengthen it. And then, you know, just mentally being tough and focused to stay with that. I mean, and to do what he's doing this season, to put it all in perspective, is incredible.
First one came against Hawaii on December 6th. Then the end of December, a triple-double against Gonzaga. A week later, he got another one, his 3rd of the season at San Francisco. Then on January 15th, he got one at Pacific, and a month later, his most recent one on February 7th at Loyola Marymount. All triple doubles with points, rebounds, and assists. Presley pulls up in the lane and knocks it down.
Nice job by Presley. He's had a nice game tonight and been a guy that's been able to just kind of get his own shot and those little in-between shots at 7-8 feet.
Tyler Hawes hangs and hits. He's got 14, coming off of his 30-point outing in the quarterfinal win. Tyler's
just one of those guys you just kind of look up and you just put 20 in the book for him every night. I mean, he just gets it done by scoring in so many different ways.
If they get this win tonight, it would certainly shore up their chances of getting into the NCAA tournament, and then a chance for Tyler Hawes to add to the legend. You think about Danny Ainge and the great end-to-end score that he had against Notre Dame back in the early 80s. You think of Jimmer leading the Cougars to the Sweet 16 in 2011. And Jeff, I know you've got some thoughts on Hawes as well.
Danny Ainge, by the way, is here watching tonight.
Yep.
He'll be in Vegas all week. But, you know, watching this team, and I've seen a ton of games over the course of the year in person, different leagues, some of the top teams, and by the eye test, and I know that's not what we go on to pick a team and whether they get in the NCAA tournament, but by the eye test, this team is deserving. This team, again, can be dangerous. They can win not only one game, I think they can win multiple games in the NCAA tournament because they've got shooters all over the place, and they've got Kaufusi, who, as Stan said, is a difference maker on the defensive end, and he's starting to really learn how to play the game now and stay out of foul trouble. This was a kid that was raw as raw could be when he got here.
And he does commit the foul. They're trying to deny Bailey the rim. That's his second.
You know, just to add to that point, Jeff, and you know, they've got an assistant coach over there standing up right now, Mark Pope, who played at Kentucky, and he really spends a lot of time with those post players. And I've watched practices where he just grabs a guy like Kaufusi and just really goes over the fundamental defensive techniques of how to wall up, how to guard guys, how to get initial position so a guy doesn't beat you and get the spot he wants on the floor. And you can really see it, as you mentioned before, Jeff, just the improvement from January to where he is right now.
You know, Pope also got Chase Fisher. Pope was an assistant coach at Wake, recruited Fisher when he transferred from Wake to BYU.
They lost Eric Mika to the Mission. He was terrific last year in the paint as a freshman. Then Nate Austin, they lost to the hamstring injury. They tried out Luke Worthington. They tried out Isaac Nielsen. They tried out Jake Tolson a little bit, and it was finally Kaufusi that took over the job as Collinsworth wraps it around. 10 rebounds, 9 points, 8 assists for Kyle Collinsworth.
We're getting right there. We're getting there.
Can he make history tonight? Presley. It's a trip to the lane, or to the free throw line. .13:28 to go.
We could be watching history tonight, Beth.
Presley over the front of the rim. Well, the defensive effort as well. I mean, they're holding Portland to 37 points, 36% shooting. Halford pulls the trigger, and the left-hander gets the triple. 9th of the night for BYU.
Now, we haven't talked about Halford a lot, but down the stretch, his last 10 games, he's been averaging almost 15 points a game, and just a guy that comes into the game and really changes the pace and sees a big basket right now, shooting a high percentage from three.
And Kaufusi just picked up his 3rd personal.
This isn't an easy shot right here. Here he is going away. He's left-handed, and he just, after he bobbles it just a little bit, he just composes himself, raises up and shoots and knocks down the three. So, you know, that's a guy that plays with a lot of confidence. Dave Rose gives his players, especially those shooters, a lot of freedom. There's a lot of green lights out there on the court for the BYU shooters.
Assisted on 15 of their 21 buckets. Vandemars gets the free throw.
Well, if you're Portland, if you could just chip this thing down to about 10 points at about the 7-8 minute mark, you can put a little pressure on BYU. The way the possessions go in a game like this and the way BYU plays, you can get that lead down and cut into it fairly quick.
Hartley, baseline drive, tried to pass all the way through to Halford, knocked out of bounds. Shaws using the Worthington screen. And a bump up top. Foul will be on Kevin Bailey. That's his second.
Kind of like that horse shot he threw in right at the end, even though it didn't count.
Third team foul on the Pilots, 4 so far for BYU.
Really got to watch BYU on these baseline out of bounds. Collinsworth's such a good passer. He can find the seams and find shooters to score.
And Bertley fouled on the shot.
There with Collinsworth, he's really looking for the interior pass in a baseline situation. And as I've said before, they're going to get about 4 to 6 points every single game. So we've already seen 2, and here's a potential 2 more.
That's the third foul, by the way, on Kevin Bailey. Frank Bartley, the 6'3" sophomore. Depending on Anson Winder's condition, he's not playing tonight with a knee injury. May mean more minutes for this guy into the postseason. Here's a look at Anson Winder, sidelined the senior from Las Vegas, coming home for this tournament. Still yet to be decided if they do win this, whether or not he would be available for the championship game tomorrow night.
Yeah, he is a key component of this team, and another offensive weapon, a guy that gets 13.7 points a game. So he's more than capable.
Burley had it blocked by Vandermars.
Collinsworth almost got that 9th assist. He might look over at Bartley and say, hey, come on, man, I need that. You got to finish.
Alford for 3. That's 10 on the night for BYU. 6 of them for Chase Fisher. Nine assists, 9 points, 11 boards for Collinsworth.
Well, he is so crafty. The pass, he passed it right between Haas's legs on purpose, and Alford knocks it down.
Well, it's looking like it's going to be the top 2 seeds in the championship game. BYU in control here in our second semifinal. Earlier tonight, big second half for Gonzaga and a big night for Byron Wesley. 25 points, Dan, the most he's had at Gonzaga this year.
Well, he came out very aggressive. He's a guy that can get to the basket. He's a slasher. He's terrific in transition. He can finish. And he's a good defender as well, too. He got some of that offense from his defense on some steals. You can see right here, he played with a lot of emotion and intensity out there on the floor. Big game for Byron Wesley.
Looking to be part of a championship team. He's got a regular season championship with the Bulldogs this year, trying to lock down the tournament title. Kyle Wilcher had 17 points. Shimmick Karnowski had 13. He was 6 of 7 in the game.
I thought the other bright spot in that game was just Wilcher's performance in the second half.
Yeah.
He hadn't particularly been playing great, and you didn't know how he was going to be with the injury that he had in the previous game. But in the second half, he played with a lot more intensity and toughness out there on the floor, and really was a huge factor offensively for the Zags.
They may have a chance to avenge their regular season finale loss to the Cougars. BYU on its way to an 8th consecutive win, and Kyle Collinsworth could make some history tonight with his 6th career triple-double, his 6th of this season. 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 9 points for Kyle.
Well, it's just interesting. When you watch BYU, it's like every player who touches the ball is a guy that has a chance to score. I mean, they're all attacking. Everybody's in attack mode to score. And that's what makes them so tough. They're putting pressure on you at every position when they touch the basketball.
Boy, and Kevin Bailey just committed his 4th personal foul before the ball even came in bounds.
Just unnecessary. Now they're shooting free throws, and you've got 11 and a half minutes to go.
And Bailey will check out, replaced by Presley. Hartley misses the front end, rebounded by Vandermars.
BYU doing a nice job of talking in this zone and matching up with guys. And again, we see the defensive steal.
Fisher. Halford with the tip. Schuyler's got 8 off the bench.
They are truly playing their best basketball right now at the end of this year. Yeah. And it's really the intensity and the activity that they are having on the defensive end, forcing turnovers, rebounding the ball better, their interior defense. And now you put that together with the offense they have, and it's a different deal. I mean, this team right now has got 18 points off of turnovers compared to 5 for Portland. And, you know, it's just, and they're doing it by playing hard out the court. They're playing harder than their opponents in about the last 4 or 5 games we've seen them play.
You just saw that was Alec Wintering, their starting point guard. He was being stretched out by the athletic trainer a moment ago and now trying to work through the pain a little bit. And I think he just told the assistant coach that it was okay to go back in. He's only taken a couple of shots, just 4 points. He's got 2 assists tonight.
Again, not an easy team to press. You've got 4 guys that can handle the ball and advance it up the court, and a good passing team. So
Fisher all the way in for 2 more.
That's just way too easy. Way too easy. The lane just opened up, and it's an easy basket for Fisher.
Presley for 2, and a quick timeout here for Portland. We'll take the break as well. Just over 10 minutes to go. BYU in control. Is in the West Coast Conference. Mark Few, the winningest coach in league history, 16 years at Gonzaga, followed by Randy Bennett at St. Mary's. 14 years there, then Dave Rose in his 10th season. Looking better and better to get back to the NCAA tournament again. And then Eric Reveneau right there in his 9th season at Portland. He had a couple of 20-win campaigns a few years ago, then 3 losing seasons, but the wins got a little bit better each time out, and now this year they'll have the winning record.
I'll tell you what, you get past 5 seasons now in college coaching, you're in dog years. You're tenured. You're a tenured professor.
Reveneau's done a great job developing big men, too. I mean, he was a big at Stanford. Remember, he coached the Collins twins, Mark Madsen, and he's put out, in the last few years, 5 big guys are now playing, making money overseas. And he's done it really through the international route. You know, at Portland, a place like Portland, you're not going to beat the big boys, recruiting-wise, for big guys. Stan knows this. Any good big guy, they're going to go to the highest level and higher than they probably should. So instead, Reveneau's taking the approach of going overseas, trying to develop some guys. Michael Wolf on his staff has been integral in that, going overseas every summer, and they've really made a living on that.
Well, and Jeff, they don't have Riley Barker. He's out with the injury, but he's Canadian. Vandermar's from Netherlands. Philip Hertwich from Germany.
Well, just to piggyback on what you said, you know, one of his guys he really worked with closely with big men was Pete Newell, who's obviously one of the premier big men coaches ever to be involved in basketball, and Eric learned a lot from him, and you can see, you know, the product of some of the guys he's coached and how they've developed over the years.
Why wouldn't you want, if you're a big guy, why wouldn't you want to play for a guy like Eric Reveneau, Larry Kryskowiak, Danny Manning? There's not that many in college basketball that can say they played that position at a high level.
We used to talk about that back in the old days. If you're a big man, long time ago, where'd you want to go? Georgetown. Played for Big John Thompson. That's where, you know, Ewing, Mutombo, all those guys went. I mean, it makes sense. It really does. A guy who understands what you're going through and how to teach you to get better.
And that is the 5th personal foul on Kevin Bailey, and he is out. And it was a frustrating night for Kevin. 3 of 10 shooting, just 8 points. And the leading scorer for Portland is fouled out. And with the big lead here for BYU with 9:13 to go, guys, the drama now centers around Kyle Collinsworth and a bid for a 6th triple-double 11 rebounds, 9 points, 9 assists. He's already got the single-season triple-double record and trying to tie the NCAA career record.
I think he got hosed on an assist earlier, guys.
They're going to go through every replay.
I'm telling you, he had a pass that Hawes hit a mid-range shot maybe 6-7 minutes ago. And I'm telling you, if they look back, that's an assist in my book.
Well, did he dribble, Jeff? I don't remember that play, because if he didn't dribble, or if he did dribble one time, he still counted.
He might have dribbled once.
And believe it or not, they can go back. They can go back and correct that.
Well, Jeff, though, we do have to remember, too, he had the between-the-legs one that was intended for Hawes that shot all the way through the back.
We got to help him.
We gave him that one.
I think that was for Hofford. I mean, the ball was it was a bowling ball pass, so, I mean, it had to be for Hofford.
Listen, I'm all for this because I want to see Shaq's reaction.
Oh, yeah.
When somebody tweets at him that Collinsworth tied him, he's going to say, "Ooh."
I'm sure Barkley will get on him in that NBA show on the other network. Wintering rejected by Bartley. Big block there. And the lob intended for Vandemers, but he had already turned around.
Hey, in terms of most fun teams to watch, these guys, to me, rank right up there.
They're right up there. No question.
I mean, BYU Gonzaga, to me, tomorrow night, I'm dying for this game. This is going to be tremendous, especially with the sour taste that Gonzaga's got in their mouths from the senior night.
He had a chance for a 10th assist right there. Hawes couldn't knock it down.
You know what's interesting? They don't have anything posted that shows all the triple-double numbers.
He can't see it in the arena.
But the crowd knows it. Yeah. I mean, they were mad at Chase Fisher because he didn't take that shot on Collinsworth's pass.
Well, and back to your point, Jeff, that game a week ago Saturday was one of the most entertaining in college basketball this year. It was a terrific finish. And I know the folks here in Orleans Arena excited about a rematch. This place will be electric. I think our terrific crew has come up with the assist that he was not credited with.
Well, we've got some good people. That counts as an
Breaking
assist.
news.
Jeff, you are right.
Breaking
One
news.
dribble, that's an assist.
That's 10 assists.
One
right
dribble,
there.
yeah. That's 10 assists.
We got to give him credit for that one. We got to get that done.
Otherwise, we get gypped of calling the triple-double, and they'll give it to him after the game in the post-game presser. That's no fun.
Well, he's still got to score a bucket here, so. Oh, he's going to get the assist
and
now.
there is assist number 10. He's 1 point shy of the TD.
Oh, he's got to get the ball in the next possession, doesn't he?
12 rebounds, 10 assists, 9 points for Kyle Collinsworth. And he knew that if he had the steal right there, he would have gotten the layup.
Well, here we see it, the 10th official assist. A nice left-handed, nice cut. Hawes with a nice cut, the nice dish by Collinsworth. We've got 10 assists and 10 rebounds.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Sport begs of you this one simple question: who will you be? And the Lexus Command Performance Sales Event, now through March 31st. See your Lexus dealer.
History of triple doubles for Kyle Collinsworth. We're going to count up 5 of them over a 2-month stretch this season. That is a new NCAA single season record. And history could be made momentarily here tonight. The most recent one back on February 7th against Loyola Marymount. But Kyle Collinsworth tonight, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, and the crowd's already chanting, Stan, 1 more point.
Well, it's 8 minutes to go. I know Dave Rose he's an offensive magician. He will find a way to get Collinsworth the ball, and Collinsworth doesn't do it himself to get that last basket.
Michael Anderson from Drexel, Shaquille O'Neal, LSU. The NCAA career record holders with 6 TDs. It was all about Chase Fisher in the first half with those 6 3-pointers. And a good defensive effort tonight for BYU on the whole. And Kyle Collinsworth, number 5 in white, needs just a point to get the triple-double. Collinsworth going for it. Put a little English on it, wouldn't go down. Collinsworth again. And he will have a chance to do it at the free throw line.
Got a little pressure to this free throw coming. It's 1-1 too, right? Yeah. He wanted one extra rebound before he before he tried to score that point.
And he missed it.
That's good. Little drama, you know.
Chance for the triple-double goes by the wayside.
The ref who made the call, Frank Harvey, the father of the leading scorer in the nation, Tyler Harvey, who plays at Eastern Washington.
How about that? That's some knowledge right there, Jeff.
Will he get another chance? Here he is, Collinsworth. Looks over to the bench.
Let's just say 1-4 flat. Everybody just get out of the way.
Collinsworth driving inside, and he's fouled again. And now he's got the double bonus. The pressure is off the front end of the 1-and-1. To tie the NCAA record with his 6th career triple-double, and they've all come this season.
It's a nice job by Dave Rose.
Number 5 gets number 6, and he ties the NCAA triple-double career record.
It was so interesting watching that. Just all the fans who pulled out their phones to take pictures of that moment and making that shot.
And more importantly for BYU, with 6:27 to go, keep everybody healthy and get ready for Gonzaga, the top seed in the championship game tomorrow night. The Bulldogs cruise to a win over Pepperdine, led by Byron Wesley's 25 points. And there you go, Kyle Collinsworth standing alongside Shaq and Michael Anderson of Drexel back in the mid-'80s.
The amazing thing is he did it a year after tearing his ACL.
Yep.
You know, 6 all this season, still playing with a brace on his knee, and is able to play at this high a level. And he didn't come out of the gates. You know, people talk about this team and they struggled a little bit early in the season. Well, part of it was this kid was coming off a torn ACL. He's so much further along now than he was, obviously, early in the season.
And not just 1 year since the ACL injury, but in the same building. It was a year ago in the final. There is the knee brace. It really hasn't bothered him much this year.
No, it definitely hasn't bothered him at all. And, you know, that goes back to how much work and rehab he did with the trainers and doctors. Everybody just making sure that when he did come back, he was at full strength. And the other part, as Jeff mentioned, it really is a mental part. You know, do you trust the knee to elevate and dunk? Do you trust the knee in traffic or to make awkward movements when you're attacking the rim? So, you know, this kid has not just physically gotten it right with the knee, but mentally.
Off the window for Halford. So now you start steering the conversation towards Gonzaga. And for the Bulldogs, terrific shooting in the quarterfinal in the second half, and again in the semifinal in the second half to pull away from the opposition. They will certainly be highly motivated after the loss to BYU about 10 days ago.
That'll be a heck of a game. And the game that, if you're a West Coast Conference fan, that's the game you want to see.
Yep.
It really is. I mean, these are the two teams. They've got the star power. They split each other, so it's for all the marbles.
You'd really have to say at this point, I think, Jeff, would you agree, BYU's going to be off the bubble. They should get in now that they get into the championship game. And for Gonzaga, right now, a solid 2 seed. And depending on what happens in the power conference tournaments, I would say still a chance at a 1 if some of the teams ahead of them stumble.
Yeah, we talked to Mark Few about that before the game, and he didn't think there was much of a shot that they could get a 1 at this point. Too many things would have to happen. And for BYU, what if they beat Gonzaga? Do they go all the way up to that dreaded 8-9 game? You don't want to be there because you certainly, although I'll tell you what, it would be kind of fun to see BYU in the 8-9 win and play one of those number ones, because if they get hot, I'll tell you what, these guys make shots. It's contagious. It's fun. And nobody wants to play against a team like this when Chase Fisher's making shots like this. Because you know Haas is going to.
I think the big thing probably for Gonzaga is they would like to stay out west if at all possible. You got to imagine any 2 seed wants to stay away from Kentucky. You'll take your chances against anybody else. And an Arizona team that if they are out west as well, Gonzaga only lost to them by a point on the road in a game they had shots to win it. Well, the ESPN Bracketology special will come your way Sunday night after we know what the bracket will look like. At 7 Eastern, everything you need to know about the field of 68. It's the ESPN Bracketology special Sunday night at 7 on ESPN. Right now, Joe Lenardi's Bracketology, BYU. After the Gonzaga win, moved from being out of the bracket in. They are the last 4 in right now.
How about Indiana and Tom Crean? Talk about a guy who needs a win in a conference tournament. It is Tom Crean right now.
Got the vote of confidence.
Yeah, that's sometimes the dreaded vote of confidence. You never know.
You never know. And his team got off to such a great start. But, right now, the tournament, boy, anything can happen in these conference tournament games. And, team can get hot and they can play their way into it. And we're not even talking about teams right now. Actually, that happened to me a few years back where we were playing in the SEC tournament at Arkansas. We weren't even being talked about. Won 3 straight games, played the championship game against Florida, and was the last team in. It happens.
Yeah, I think there's especially this year where the bubble, there's really not a lot of disparity between some of these teams. So you make a little bit of a run of Miami, somebody like that can get right back in it and rise from off the bubble to a number 10 seed.
74-57, BYU trying to close this out to get to the championship game on an historic night for Kyle Collinsworth, tying the NCAA record with his 6th career triple-double. It's championship week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. On an historic night here in Las Vegas with Kyle Collinsworth picking up his 6th career triple-double to tie the NCAA record. 13 rebounds, 11 points, 10 assists. Let's take you back to a couple of Saturdays ago up at the Kennel. And Collinsworth was huge in the upset of the 3rd-ranked Bulldogs. That snapped a 22-game winning streak as Wiltshire's last chance 3 went begging. That also snapped the 41-game home court winning streak that at the time was the longest in the nation. And now we are headed for a rematch in the final. The top 2 seeds make it through to the championship game tomorrow night on ESPN at 9 Eastern.
Hey, if you remember in that game, BYU played terrific. They were so aggressive. They played harder than the Zags in that particular game. But the one thing that happened in that game, both Kyle Wiltshire and Kevin Pangos did not score a field goal in the second half, and they only lost by 3.
Now you got to think the Zags will be raring to go for that one. And for BYU, they're going to go in winners of 8 in a row, 10 of their last 11. 2 terrific offensive units.
I think we got a little late whistle on Fisher's shot. Got hit on the elbow, and they're going to give him 2 free throws.
Well, I think the fun thing to watch with these guys and with Gonzaga, it could be any guy on the floor. For example, tonight Fisher in the first half was the big scorer, and now Collinsworth coming back out onto the floor here with 3:25 to go.
You know, I'm looking at their bench right now for BYU, and I'm not sure how many bodies they have that they can bring in. They have about 3 centers that they kind of rotate in, but with Anson Winder out, there's not a lot of guards.
You got to be real careful at this juncture not to get anybody hurt. 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd have Collinsworth and Hawes out there right now.
Hawes will add a couple more. He's got 18.
He just makes contested shots,
he makes
doesn't
tough shots, especially in that 17-15 range. And
hand in his face does nothing.
He's still racking up points to really create separation for his BYU all-time scoring. Now he's working on his records.
Yeah, I think most people thought it would be a long time before anybody would catch Jimmer Fredette. And it didn't take Tyler long, 3 years back from his mission. He had 48. He's got 48 points now in the 2 games, including the game winner. How about this pull-up with 2.5 seconds to go on Saturday night to beat Santa Clara. His 30th points of the night.
Without that shot, we might not have seen that triple-double.
Yeah. He's a Wooden Award candidate. 11th leading scorer in the country as a sophomore, 6th best last year, and now the 3rd leading scorer in the nation this year. At 22 points a game. And now Hawes is out. Collinsworth looks to feed Nielsen. And for Collinsworth, assist number 11.
Well, it makes him so tough. He takes the ball out of bounds. Now you throw it right back to him, and all of a sudden a fast break is initiated.
Collinsworth, there's the exclamation point. And I think a timeout here for Dave Rose I thought initially it was to make some substitutions. There's Collinsworth with the steal and the bucket. And it was a substitution timeout to get Collinsworth back out of the game. A little post-game stretching.
Well, he's done some yeoman work tonight. So undoubtedly he'll ice and stretch and get himself ready for the championship game for tomorrow.
13 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists.
That was about 4 games for me when I played.
That's a career for some folks. Final 2 minutes. You're going to have Collinsworth, Hawes. You're going to have Fisher, Kaufusi. And for the Zags, that experienced starting 5, Wiltshire, Karnowski, Wesley, Pangos, and Bell. Good time in the Orleans Arena tomorrow night at 9 Eastern on ESPN. My buddies Dave Pash, Sean Farnham, Jeff Goodman will have the call for you. Punching another ticket for the dance. And in all likelihood, just a matter of who wins it in terms of who gets the automatic and who gets the at-large.
Hey, both teams are going to come out fired up to win that game. They're playing for a lot more. I mean, as you mentioned, not necessarily for the NCAA tournament, but more for and a little bit of that positioning. But they're really going to play because these two teams, I think, don't like each other in a good way. You know, just competitively want to win against each other, knowing that the Zags have owned the league and BYU is the team that's new in the league, that's had great history, and it'll be a huge battle.
Bulldogs are in the championship game for the 18th year in a row. They've won 12 of the last 17 titles. BYU, the new kids on the block, just their 4th season in the league. They lost to Gonzaga in the final last year, and it'll be the same 2 tomorrow night. Portland. Last game in the West Coast Conference for some of their seniors. Vandemars and Gayroon and Kevin Bailey. But they moved in the right direction this year. They got the nice upset in the quarterfinals of St. Mary's.
They did. Much improved team for Eric Revenall. Obviously not an easy job, and done a nice job developing kids and recruiting some good players. Alec Wintering, as a point guard, just a sophomore. He's a very good player. Presley played really well for the Pilots as well tonight.
Nice drop off for Halford. BYU will have a chance to get the double, by the way. Their women's team stunned top-seeded Gonzaga this afternoon. They will be playing USF in the championship. And the men will be there as well. The rematch is set. The top 2 seeds, Gonzaga and BYU, tomorrow night for the West Coast Conference Championship. History made by Kyle Collinsworth this evening. 13 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists. Ties the NCAA career record with his 6th triple-double.
Well, hey, the 2 teams that everybody wanted to see will be on stage again. A lot of star power out there. Pangos Wiltshire for the Zags and Collinsworth and Hawes. So we'll see. This would be a great matchup between 2 heavyweights.
Gonzaga and BYU cruise here tonight in the semis. And it's the top 2 teams in the championship for you tomorrow night at 9 Eastern on ESPN. For Stan Heath and Jeff Goodman, our entire ESPN2 crew, I'm Beth Mullins. Thanks so much for being with us. The West Coast Conference Final. The Cougars and the Bulldogs. Now let's get you to Chris Cotter and LaFonso Ellis with College Basketball Live.